So, coming to our theme here of muscle centric health, we have these two big pieces, one being the dietary protein and the other being resistance training. I know we're coming up on time, but I want to end on the resistance training piece and talk about dosages and type of exercise. And we've touched on this, but I want to get into the nuance. So, for somebody to get the proper stimulus to the muscle, how hard do they need to push it? And then how often do you recommend?
So that's all outcome based. Or is your goal to be a healthy adult, or is your goal to compete in the Olympics? It's sort of what's your goal in doing that. We know that from a muscle health standpoint, to stimulate protein synthesis, to make that more efficient, the real issue is stretch. And so yoga, Pilates will give you the baseline effect. Okay? You won't get a hypertrophy that way, but you can stimulate the process. There's some great work that's been done by various kinesiology groups around the country, many of them like Stu Phillips in Canada, that have looked at volume of exercise. And so the issue of weights versus repetitions. And one of the things that we need to recognize is that lifting a 5-pound weight 20 times has about the same effect as lifting a 50-pound weight twice. They're both 100 pounds, okay? Volume, it's volume. And so a lot of people will say, well, I can't go lift 150-pound barbells, I can't do that. But they can do 5-pound weights at home, and they can get effects, but you have to do it a lot of times. What we generally point to is, pick a comfortable weight. It should feel heavy to you, but comfortable. And you need to do at least 2 sets of 10 to 12 reps. And that's kind of a minimum threshold. And so that's what we use. When we did the weight loss studies, we focused on stretch. So we had the women do 8 positions on Nautilus machines with no weights. So they went through the range of motion, which gave the full range of stretch, but we didn't have them put any weights on the machine. And we got a significant exercise effect. Okay, so the first level is stretch. You need stretch and movement. The second level is just begin to get weights into it. And if you're really looking to be a muscle-bound guy, then it's maximum. You want to lift maximum weights. Relatively few reps, maxing your lift every time. And so, again, it's what goal are you after? The average adult, isn't looking for that kind of outcome. And so, again, do something. Use rubber bands at home. Do something that, walk stairs. Do something. Then the next level would be worry about stretch. Do yoga. Bring some weights into it. And then you can go up from there. I like to do HIIT exercise because I want the aerobic and anaerobic at the same time. So I like to basically start out workouts with doing 10 minutes of elliptical, getting my heart rate up, and then I'll go lift around. I'll lift a series of weights. I'll do a series of reps. Then I'll go back and do Stairmaster, and then I'll go do another set. Then I'll end with a treadmill or a bike or something. And so I'll end up with 30 minutes of aerobic, fairly high intensity, and each of those leads into my heart rate still up while I'm doing my lifting. That's the definition of HIIT type of exercise, high intensity interval training.
So coming back to the muscle protein synthesis, we've gone into the detail of how to stimulate that through diet. I just want to end on giving you a hypothetical situation. Say somebody's in a fasted state, but they do a workout. Are they stimulating it just from the workout, or does the dietary piece have to be part of it?
We know that if you do a fasted state and you do resistance exercise, you can stimulate protein synthesis. You won't be able to get hypertrophy. It'll be a momentary effect. So you're triggering mechanisms, but it's not going to go anywhere. I'm not a big fan of fasting. I routinely tell people that, no one over the age of 50 should ever fast because you're going to lose muscle mass in fasting. Unless you really do a lot of resistance exercise when you come out, that's a permanent loss. So I don't think anybody over the age of 50 should ever fast. If you want to do time restricted feeding, I think that's fine. But I don't think anyone over 50 should ever fast more than 36 hours. Another example of that is that you can take a fasted person and give them just leucine, and it will stimulate muscle protein synthesis, but it won't go anywhere. You'll turn on all the mechanisms. You can detect that the process started, but now you don't have the substrate. You don't have the amino acids to let it go anywhere. You can't really make anything. So, you can trigger those processes. Exercise or leucine both can trigger it, but you need the complete amino acid mix. And if you just give amino acids, you're going to burn some of those amino acids for energy. So you just as well give some carb or fat along with it, because you don't want to waste all the amino acids on generating your ATP. So that's why we always do blended meals. That's why we have a meal replacement shake that has carbs and fat in it, because just giving protein, it's kind of a waste of protein.
Got it. That makes a lot of sense. So it's combining the two stimulus is ideal, plus having the 3 different macros. So you're not drawing upon the protein and utilizing that in a different means than you'd ideally want to.
Exactly. So, and you can make your choice between fat and carbs as to whatever philosophy you want to follow. I like a blend of the two. I'm about being low energy, low calories, and so I tend to restrict both carbs and fat in the diet. I'm not a zealot about being high in fat or high in carbs or whatever. I want a balance. And I do intense exercise. I do, singles tennis. And so carbs are important to me. If I don't have enough carbs, I don't feel well. I can't compete well, because I'm above that threshold of 65% VO2 max. And so I am burning carbs when I'm exercising. So I need to replace them.
That's the way I like to look at carbs too. Like, take them in, but then use them. Have a purpose for them.
Exactly. It's all about exercise. Like I said, there's the minimum amount your brain and your red blood cells need. You need at least 100 grams per day. And if you're not getting it from eating it, you got to get it from protein. You got to convert the protein into it. So you just well eat them. And it's much more fun. But then, if I'm going to do the exercise, I'm going to feel better with the carbs. And so I'm earning it. If I put in an hour and a half or 2 hours of exercise, I've earned my extra 100 calories of carbohydrates, and I like it.
I agree. You got to have the baseline, but earning it. I like that way of putting it. If you enjoyed that clip, press here for the full episode. I'll see you over there.
It's all about balance and ratios. And so again, you can do it. And there's vegetarians and vegans out there who are very skilled at it, but the average consumer has no